Welcome, welcome, welcome. As I like to say every week, I'm still Dr. Arnold Nerenberg. I've been a licensed clinical psychologist in the state of California since 1974. I've been back in the field for over 50 years now. I'll be 84 in about 2 months. But what I like to tell people is I'm 83 years old and I finally know what I'm doing. And that's the good news. So it's my intention, my hope, my aspiration to be able to give you insights and understandings that will uplift you and your loved ones for the rest of your lives. I'm not just interested in helping you for now. I'm looking at the trajectory of what I hope will be a long, healthy, productive life. The body is geared if we don't destroy ourselves to 120. The longer we stay, the more good we can do in the world, especially with the knowledge about the way of honor. So this is a great enjoyment for me to be here with you. So I thank you for being here. The title of today's presentation is, Who are the people who will not take responsibility for their problems? Who are the people who will not take responsibility for their problems? I know that you know people, every one of you, who will never say, I'm wrong, will never say, I'm sorry, I apologize. They're never going to say that. In fact, some of you might be amongst those. I know when I was younger, my pride stood in the way. I couldn't apologize. It's very easy for me now, and I'll tell you how I came to that. And in relationships, how many of you have to be the one that's always apologizing to your spouse, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your significant other, your partner? You say, I'm the one that has to do it. I know. I've talked to thousands of people. And I know this goes on. But what you don't know is that partner, that significant other, is probably among those who can't do it. And I'm going to tell you why. They cannot apologize, and probably never will. Probably. There's always miracles. People can change, but for the most part, that's a tough one. Most people will put their pride before honor. Most people will put their pride before their honor. That's a fact. Of course, what I tell people is, cold lover. Pride is a cold lover. Will not keep you warm at night. Another variation I say of that is, do you want to be right or do you want to be happy? You want to fight to the death to prove that you're right all the time? So be it. We won't be too happy. Now, we have 4 commands of honor. I wish you well. I take full responsibility for co-creating my reality, my problems. I'm grateful for the power I gained from hardship. And one of 2, if you believe in God as I do, God, your wish is my only wish. Or if you don't want to address God or don't believe, I seek always to serve my highest values. So the command of honor, I take full responsibility for co-creating my reality and my problems. That's the key one that we're talking about for today. Those of you, all of you who are in my honor program, you're repeating this 3 times a day. You're committed to doing your 4 commands of honor 3 times a day for life. The benefits will be enormous. And if ever you stop reciting your commands of honor, you will descend into a lower state of consciousness. Absolutely will happen. It only takes 8 seconds to say them. I do it when I'm backing out in the driveway in the morning, when I'm driving home, at least one time in the middle of the day, or at night again, when I'm brushing my teeth. So I just get them in. The beautiful thing is you can say them anywhere, anytime. It's a beautiful thing. And the results that we've seen from saying the 4 commands of honor 3 times a day with what I call the bridge, what's the most honorable thing to think, say, and do, So in this path of honor, we're not looking for happiness anymore. We're looking for honor, which turns out to be the foundation of true happiness. I'll read you a little poem that kind of captures what today's presentation is about. Do you really believe you never do wrong? Are you always right? Never make mistakes? Truly, you fear the guilt and losing face. To err is chaos and certain death. That is how you feel. Pride is a cold lover and will be the death of you. You are far greater than even what you pretend to be. The river of time gently flows into the ocean of forgotten dreams. Love while you can. You are such a beautiful, imperfect being, and you will bring much good to this world. We're imperfect, beautiful, imperfect people. People that I have the privilege of serving and knowing as my patients. Beautiful, imperfect people. Lovely, beautiful, imperfect human beings. Struggling to manifest nobility and honor in their lives. What a great privilege and enjoyment to know these people, to be a part of their lives, to have them trust me with their deepest dimensions of themselves. What a privilege. More beautiful than the most beautiful sunset, more beautiful than the most beautiful sunrise. Beautiful. So, why is it that some people cannot take responsibility for co-creating the reality of their problems? There are people, if they make a mistake, will beat themselves up. There are people who make a mistake, will really feel ashamed, guilty, beat themselves up, put themselves down. It's psychologically very dangerous. Dangerous for them to make a mistake or to admit it. For them, it's a form of disaster and chaos. It's a loss of face, a blow to their ego, a blow to their pride. This is why some people you know, and it might even include you, it certainly included me in my younger years, why they can't apologize, why they can't acknowledge they helped co-create whatever the problem is. They can't do it. Now, I would say in my case, I never beat myself up about it. Never put myself down about it. That wasn't what stopped me. With me, it was just straight up pride. But I did put pride before my honor. I know what that's like. And for many years now, I put my honor before my pride. But I also have what I call the 6 laws of humility that I recite that really help me step up to the plate. And I'm really good at apologizing now. The 6 laws of humility. I apologize. I was wrong. You were right. I'll never do it again. Please forgive me. I have not always lived with honor, but I will die with honor. I recommend you write these down and try reciting it every day so you have it ready to go. And don't expect your significant other, your spouse, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, whomever, don't expect them to be able to take responsibility for co-creating an issue. If somebody starts an argument and you get into it, you've added fuel to the fire, apologize for your portion. Hey, I'm sorry, I've had a problem to this. I wish I could take it back. I was wrong to go into it more with you. That's putting honor before pride. But do not expect the other person to apologize in return. They might, but more than likely, they won't. The best you'll have is, I forgive you. or don't worry about it, not a problem. That's the best you'll most likely get. And you won't always get even that. But our goal in following the path of honor is we take care of our end. We'll live honorably, which involves taking responsibility for co-creating our realities and our problems. And the world does what the world does. You ever hear the expression that he's a big enough man to admit when he's wrong? There's a dignity in doing that. But you have to not beat yourself up about being wrong. I want you to take pride in taking responsibility. Instead of beating yourself up, say, wow, I'm doing it. I love myself. I'm doing this. And you'll feel better. You're apologizing for your end will make you feel better most of the time. The other person's nasty and they start digging things in and kicking you when you're vulnerable doing that. It's another story. But mostly, say 99% of the time, it's going to be you lift something off of yourself. Of course, we don't let people walk all over us. We say, hey, wait a minute. I'm talking to you respectfully. I'd appreciate if you talk to me respectfully. This path doesn't require letting people walk on us. That's not good for us. It's not even good for them. And it's certainly not good for the relationship. So these are individuals, unless they've had some kind of religious revelation or some awakening, probably never be able to do it. And by the way, all religions encourage taking responsibility and look at the mote in thine own eye, not this little cinder in somebody else's eye. Accursed shall thou be if you just blaming. Any religion, any spiritual path, none of them say, blame your neighbor. They're the cause of your problem. No, they say, look, they encourage you to look at yourself first, your own imperfections. So these are all opportunities for your own growth. It's a beautiful, beautiful path. It's a path that will lead to your mental health, your spiritual health, even your physical health. You'll be healthier for it because when you're blaming and you feel, because if you don't take responsibility, that means you're a victim. And victims get pretty angry. I'm tired of putting up with this. Because you go into blaming. And that anger makes us more prone to cardiovascular disease, to heart attacks, to strokes. You're apologizing or taking responsibility for your part of it. That's for you. Doesn't matter what effect it has on the other person. Hopefully it creates a bond or a bridge or a connection. But that's for your own well-being, physically, emotionally, spiritually. You want to also be reciting throughout the day, honor before pride. Now, I especially like the statement that pride is a cold lover. I love that statement. I keep saying it in many of my lectures. Honor is much healthier for you than your pride. Pride is a cold lover. Can't snuggle up to it at night. Make you lonely and cut off. If you want to have pride in being honorable. Now that's something to be proud of. So I want to encourage you to find a way, if you're one person who beats yourself up over helping co-creating a problem or taking responsibility or apologizing, for you to take pride in that. I'm so proud of myself. I can apologize. I can be a peacemaker. I can be this good person. That's the direction I want you to go in. Now, I was just naturally that way. For some reason, I never felt bad about being wrong. It was just my pride that stood in the way. Now, we're talking about relatively normal people, but then you have another class of individuals, and they're known as narcissists. Now, if they're full-blown narcissistic personality disorder, most of the people that are narcissistic are not a full-blown disorder. But I'm just going to give you the extreme. To a true narcissist, you only exist for one reason and one reason only, to serve his needs. You have no identity, no reality in yourself, and they're never wrong. They're perfect. So if you were to say, hey, you offended me, you did something wrong, that's a narcissistic blow, and they'll get very angry, enraged by that. How dare you say that to me? Because at some level, as a full-blown narcissist, they can't be wrong. If they hear the word no, they get very angry. And you have no existence, no reason for you to exist other than serve their needs. Now full-blown narcissists are not that common. They exist in different degrees of being narcissistic, but that's a full-blown disorder. You might say, I'm in this relationship. I'm so tired of being the one to always apologize, to make peace. You can tell yourself that. On the other hand, you can leave if you need to, or you can say, well, I just keep apologizing. It makes me a better person. And my partner, they just miss the opportunity to achieve more humility. It's their loss. It's my great opportunity to do that. I'm not lowering myself. As a matter of fact, it's the opposite. You're elevating yourself. Well, you can say, you know what? It was my mistake. I have co-created this problem. I apologize. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I won't do it again. I've not always lived with honor, but I will die with honor. Some combination of those, that's like, wow. Wow. It's a sign of honor and a sign of maturity. That is maturity. Sometimes when my wife calls me out on something I've done wrong, and happens often, I say, sweetheart, that's the first time I made a mistake in my life. I'll never do it again. I joke with, like every day I put something in the wrong spot. I'm creating some mess somewhere. I think having a spouse can help keep you humble and realize that you're messing up a lot. It's good to be able to apologize. You feel proud of yourself. It makes you a mature person, a noble person, and a rare person. A rare person. And there are people you try to tell them that they're doing something that bothers you, or they make you some mistake here or there, and they get defensive right away. That's just annoying. It can be annoying, but this is one of those people. I've had employees, when they made mistakes, I pointed out, so, oh yeah, that was my fault. No problem. That was a delight. I didn't mind the mistakes. It's much harder to take defending the mistake and how they really were right, or it was my fault that they did that. Very hard to take that, but then you have some say, yeah, I made that mistake. I messed that up. I'll be more careful in the future. Now, that's a great person to have a relationship with, whether it's an employment, in a romantic relationship, a parent-child relationship, any relationship. That's a beautiful thing. And rare. Really rare. People rationalize what they've done. Doesn't matter how wrong it is. For example, probably 99% of people in prison are innocent. So they'll tell you, 99%, I didn't do anything wrong. I was defending myself. If I didn't do what I did, I'd be dead. This kid would be dead. I was framed. Whatever. Even there, found guilty by a jury. I was innocent, probably 99%. It's that bad. I personally know somebody who was in prison for murder. And I liked the guy a lot. I thought he was always a good guy. And he wanted me to write a note for the governor, to get himself pardoned. But this guy would not admit he did anything wrong. He had to justify. I said, that's not a good sign that you're not going to reoffend, the fact that you can't face what you did. And he didn't get pardoned. He just couldn't acknowledge that. He used excessive force. He hit the guy in the head not once with a metal flashlight, 6 times. Boom, 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 boom. He didn't have to do 6 times. He didn't want to acknowledge that. So, now the other side of what happens is you'll also hear from some people saying, well, you're always apologizing, but it doesn't mean anything because you just keep doing it. Well, that's a problem. If you apologize and you keep doing it, that's an issue. I apologize. I was wrong. You were right. I'll never do it again. Please forgive me. I'll never do it again is really important. But if it's just words, that's not a real apology. It's not a real apology. So we'll talk about apologizing or taking responsibility for co-creating a problem, a reality. It has to be sincere. You have to be prepared to back it with awareness and action in the future. So we're talking about a real apology.
Dr. Nerenberg?
Yes. Who's speaking?
There's Gisela.
Gisela.
On the topic of what you're saying, there's a good statement that we can remind ourselves. Actions speak louder than words.
Oh, yeah, Gisela. Actions speak louder than words. Everybody says that. But words matter. But words without an action is a problem. But the best combination are words and the action. That's the best combination. So words matter, but if it's not backed with action, then they become deceptive. Great point. Thank you for bringing that up. As a matter of fact, it's a very important topic. I know all of you know somebody of what I'm talking about, every one of you. And I know that some of you are that person. Some of you are. But I know all my people and all nurse practitioner Bert's people. I take full responsibility for co-creating my reality and my problems. I know you're committed to that. And I know you're committed for the rest of your life to be reciting all 4 commands of honor in the bridge. So I know that. Well, I want to open it up to everybody because your comments and your questions really have more meaning to the other people than what I'm even saying. It makes people feel less alone and part of a beautiful community of people. So please speak up, make whatever comment you want to make. Even if you're shy, speak up, ask a question. Please do so.
Hello, Arnold. It's Christopher Coletti.
Hey, Christopher.
Hello. I just wanted to state that, unfortunately, when you do apologize to people, even if they're completely out of it, they won't ever apologize back. You just have to get used to that because that's human nature. And if you have to work with a lot of people, you are going to run into people that are completely out of line and will never apologize. And just to keep everything going, you'll have to apologize, swallow your pride.
Well, yes, absolutely. Yeah. Swallow your pride. What I translate that into honor before pride. And as I've said, and as you said so well here, is that many people won't apologize. In fact, most. But you're doing this because it's healthy for you. It's healthy for the relationship. And that's a good role model. I know one of my children, she graduated the valedictorian speech in high school. And she said that one of the greatest moments in her life is her father, me. When she was about in the 4th grade, she accused me of something, made a complaint about me. And I apologized. She said, here, my father, so much older than me, apologized to me, a child. and she never forgot it. So I'm talking about apologizing. I'm not only talking about to your peers or to your superiors. I'm talking about the little ones or whomever when there's need for you to apologize. So it's very powerful. I had no idea that it impacted her that deeply. No idea. None whatsoever. I was very surprised by that speech, and I was deeply touched. So that's a power in being able to do it. When you see somebody having such greatness, such honor, such maturity, as to be able to give a sincere apology, it's highly impactful.
People who have excessively negative thoughts about themselves are their own worst enemies.
Yeah, the point is that people have negative thoughts about themselves, low self-esteem, they're their own worst enemies. And sometimes it might be easy for that person to apologize, say, well, I'm not much of a guy, I'm not much of a woman. I did it wrong, it was my mistake. Or they might feel so low that they're afraid of reinforcing that lowness. They already have low self-esteem, so they can't. I would say, generally speaking, a person with high self-esteem is strong enough to apologize, strong enough to put honor before pride. That's one of the signs of maturity and high self-esteem. Very good point. So one of the signs of high self-esteem. But you won't find many. Oh, no. You won't find many. And although I'm that person now, honestly, I was not always that person. I mean, I put pride before honor a good part of my life. But I say for a good 15 years now, or a little bit longer, I put honor before pride. And I've never regretted it. Never regretted it. Never. Even when the other person was wrong, but they were upset, I would apologize. And I felt great. Even when that person was wrong, I said, oh, I'm so sorry I upset you. It's really their fault they were upset in this case I'm thinking of. But I begged for forgiveness. I did. Because I wanted to relieve him of that pain. Even though he did it to himself, he was really at fault. I apologized. I loved the guys. I apologized. It helped for a while. He still slipped back into blaming me when he shouldn't have been. But, I did my part. I really went the distance. I did.
If you have a spiritual background, pride is one of the 7 deadly.
Yeah, he was saying if you have a spiritual background, pride is one of the 7 deadly sins. In every religion, pride is an issue. Pride, that's why we're saying there's a God. Once you say there's a God, you're saying there's something greater than me. Now, there are people that can't do that. They can't say there's something greater than them. As a matter of fact, it's amazing how many people want to say, I'm God. Oh, yeah, I'm God. Hard for that person to say there's a God who's higher, more powerful, more knowing than I am. Now, I want to tell you something. When I was younger, it was hard for me to admit somebody was smarter than me, better looking than me, better educated, more knowledgeable, wiser. It was very hard for me to admit it because younger, I was in competition with everybody. Thank God I was able to go past that through the grace of God and through following the way of honor. That was not a good way to live. It wasn't. But I was stuck in it just like most people are stuck in it. So I know what it's like to live that life, competition, pride, somebody else's greatness would diminish me. If he's that great, that makes me less. I've been there. It's hard to wish people well with that. You almost wish failure for them so you feel better about yourself. I've been there. I know about these things, not just because I've seen it in so many people. I saw it in myself. I went beyond it. That means there's hope for you. You can go beyond it if you're not already beyond it, and most of you are not. It takes a while to go past it. And it's a much more beautiful life when we do. Much more beautiful. Much healthier. So when I accuse people of putting pride before honor, that was me for a good part of my life. That's why I'm an expert on this. I understand it, feel compassion about it, but I also have the cure for it, for those willing to take the cure. Any other comments or questions?
While we're giving pride a bad rap, there are situations where pride can be justified. I'm proud that I'm a good husband. I'm proud that I'm a good
Well, yeah, this time, as she was saying, and I mentioned earlier, pride, taking pride in being able to apologize, taking pride in being honorable, taking pride, and she's saying, in being a good husband, being a good son, good daughter. Those to have pride in good spiritual attributes is a good thing. Now, I'm talking about pride in the sense of egotism, something opposite of humility. Talking about it in that way. Absolutely great point. I'm glad you brought that up. Excellent. Who else something you'd like to ask or say?
I would like to say something.
Please do. Who's speaking?
Gisela?
Okay, Gisela, and then the next person after you. Yes, Gisela.
I just wanted to make a comment that we just have to remind ourselves that what makes us feel whole. So embracing that honor, regardless of what other people's opinion might be, as long as we feel good and honorable within ourselves is what matters. And we have to remind ourselves not to let the negative comments affect what we believe in.
Well, excellent point. Excellent point. Generally, doing what is honorable will lead to a more positive affect, but not always. Sometimes being honorable is just a pain in the neck. It's an inconvenience. It really is. But it's a life of no regrets. It's a life that will make you more resilient. You'll still have problems in life, but you'll come back faster. And you're going to come back with more wisdom and more compassion for others. And especially being able to take responsibility for co-creating our reality and problem, that empowers us to co-create something better. But the greatest people are those who have sinned and repented. The greatest human beings are those who have sinned, in whatever way you want to define sin, wrongdoings, took responsibility, repented. Those are the great ones. Absolutely, those are the great ones. So, the path of honor and taking responsibility for co-creating our reality and our problems is part of the path to your own greatness, part of the path of manifesting your own nobility. Whereas blaming and not taking responsibility creates a negative state, will lower you, and will cause you more stress and create more harmful relationships, more toxic relationships. That's a fact. Well, now somebody else wanted to say something.
Hi, Doctor.
Hi, this is Mercy Jaraga.
Oh, Mercy, dear Mercy. Yes, please.
Thank you very much for today's lesson, especially about apologizing, and because this talks about pride, and we as human beings, that's one of our greatest faults. And it's even more harder to say, I apologize, or please forgive me, especially when you know the other person is wrong. And more so
Yes.
to your child. As a parent, it takes a lot to tell your own child that you're sorry.
You know, that's the funny thing. It was very easy. But I was at that stage of development where it was easy. But there would have been a time in my life I'd go, I'm sorry, okay? You know, sort of like you blurt out. You have to push it. I was beyond that for a good part of my life. And I was not beyond that for a good portion of my life. But it's very freeing, very freeing. Free you from the darkness within yourself. Free you from the curse of blaming and your own anger and resentment. That's a poison. It's basically a path of mental detoxification. Apologizing or take responsibility for co-creating your reality and your problem will detoxify you of negativity. Detoxification is the path of detoxification. Conversely, if you don't follow the way of honor, you will become very toxic within yourself. And it'll start showing on your face and start showing in your organs, start getting different problems in your liver, your gallbladder, your heart, kidneys. It will damage you over time. And it'll show on your face. You'll have certain lines on your face, no matter how handsome or beautiful you are, it will start showing in time. It'll start altering your features. It will. So, following the way of honor is cosmetic. You'll be more handsome and more beautiful. You won't be damaging your body. You won't be damaging your face. It's an inner cosmetology. Your eyes will have a glow. Your skin will be more radiant. You won't have these wrinkles of anger and bitterness. So this is also a beauty treatment, spiritually, emotionally, and even physically. Mercy, thank you so much for that comment. Beautiful comment.
You're welcome. Thank you for this lesson.
Oh, it's truly my pleasure, really.
Hi, doctor.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Hey, how you doing? This is Jose Avila.
Jose, good to see you.
Good to see you, doctor. How are you? How are everybody?
Good.
I just want to say something. For me, to say sorry is never been hard to say it. It's always been easy part for me to say sorry, to say forgive me for what I did. And I have a sister that she's bipolar, my sister, and many years we never understand my sister, my brothers, and everything, because one day she was fine, the other day she was blaming everybody and lying, saying things that to my mom, to my dad, but regardless of what she did, I always have compassion for my sister.
You know, Jose, personally, that you could apologize and also have compassion for your sister, that's so beautiful. Beautiful, Jose. Beautiful.
And I'm the only one on the family that I can have a good conversation with my sister, because I understand that she got issues like everybody, but I never point my sister and saying that you're crazy or you're bipolar and that's the way I got my sister's respect.
Now let's look at what you just said, because that's powerful. That is very powerful. You probably never tell her she's wrong, do you?
No,
you don't. No. So the thing to have is you feel compassion. You know this person is limited. You know this person's not capable of it. It's just like asking somebody with no arms to lift up a case of water. They don't have the arms. They can't do it. There are people out literally, like Jose's sister, that can't apologize. They can't see themselves. You know, a lot of people like that, actually, besides bipolar. A lot of people can't do it. And it's not in them to do it. So the best you can do, as Jose has done, you love that person as best you can. You wish them well. You take responsibility for where you can. And that makes you a great human being like Jose. It's a path to inner cosmetology, to health, spiritually, emotionally, and physically. Thank you for that, Jose. Beautiful. Beautiful, Jose.
Yeah, thank you, doctor.
You're welcome. Now, my dear Lon, Kathy.
Hi, Hakuna. How are you?
Good. I'm so happy you're here.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. What about people who cannot take responsibilities for what they did, but they blame others?
Well, that's what exactly. That's what we're talking about. They can't say I was wrong. They're going to say it was your fault. You did X, Y, and Z. And I know who you have in mind. And they're stuck. They're stuck. And it would take a miracle. Miracles are possible. And until some point, they might feel filled with regret and remorse, but they're defended against that. So they'll keep a story going in their own mind, rationalizing why they were right and you were wrong. They spend a lot of their time keeping up a story. So it's ready to go. Oh, this happened. They already have it rehearsed. Listen, I know I've done plenty of rationalization in my time, rationalizing wrongdoing. And I spotted it. I said, oh my God. Now I'm at a point in my life, my dear Lon, where I can no longer lie to myself. I can't even rationalize any wrong. Thank God I'm at that point where I'm not capable of doing that anymore. But there was a long time when I was. I could rationalize the wrong, say, well, I had to do that, this, that, and the other thing. Like I said, 99% of criminals are innocent that are in prison because they've rationalized it. They've made a story up. The world was wrong. The spouse was wrong. This other guy was wrong. Wrong other people. They're all innocent. 99%. And I know it sounds crazy. I mean, listen, juries make mistakes, but not 99%. Not 99% of the time. Yeah, so that's the story there. Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Kuna.
No, my dear Lon, that's such a good point, and that's one of the main messages. And I know you know at least one person, and more, because I know you so well. I know your life so well. I remember everything about you. There are people that have done wrong in your life, and they can't take responsibility for it. Now, some people, to make amends for it, become saints. They start doing so much good for a lot of people to make up for all those wrongs. But they still never apologize, but their repentance is they do good for other people. So sometimes the apology gets not directed at the person it needs, but they bring a service to the world. And that happens as well. But they will never,
in a different way.
In a different way.
They don't need to say it.
They don't even manifest it towards the person. They manifest it somewhere else. Mm-hmm. But many people don't manifest it anywhere because they were right in what they did. They weren't wrong. It was everybody else's fault. This is the reality that you're dealing with. So when you're following this path of honor, don't expect others to be on the path with you. It's not going to happen.
Hello, Doctor.
Yes.
Elvira here.
Elvira, good to hear from you.
Yeah, Doctor, recently I had a problem with my auntie, my mom's sister.
Yes.
And some kind of misunderstanding. And to keep the peace, I just apologized because I want her in my life. But she said, I'll never forgive you and I don't want to be part of your life anymore.
Well, you have that too. Was it really her fault or your fault, really?
It's a little misunderstanding.
It's a misunderstanding. Yeah. There are people, now get this, there are people who love to hate.
Yes.
There are people who love to hate. And so now she's got somebody she can hate because she thinks she did X, Y, and Z to her. I've got one guy in my life, we're very close. He did something wrong to me. I apologize just to relieve the pain that he had and to protect the friendship. And he never forgave me. He never forgave me for the wrong he did against me. I saw it. And this was an intelligent man, in so many ways, a generous and decent man. But I've seen it close up. So she now has a story about you, that you did X, Y, and Z to her. You're so ungrateful. You're not a good person. Now, I know you, Lon. I know you. You're a beautiful
beautiful human being. It's kind of sad because I really reach out, call. She won't pick up the phone
No,
anymore.
and that's now she is not a very mature human being, and you're not the first person she's done it to, nor will you be the last. She's got a list of enemies, all the people that have violated her. Her thing is, I'm such a good person, but I'm surrounded by vultures, always, and tigers and lions attacking me, and I'm so good, just wanting to do good. She is a victim of you, a victim of this person, that person, and you can't talk somebody out of that.
No, I gave up. For now, I just finally I said I just wish you well, and
That's all you
maybe
can do.
in the future, but not this time.
Yeah, all you can do is say to yourself, I'm here for you, my dear aunt. Wherever you need me or want me, I'll be here for you. Wish her well, maybe pray for her. Good.
Can I make a comment to Elvira? I think your aunt might be jealous of your beautiful life, Elvira. And
Thank you.
as long as you provide your well-being of saying that you wish her well,
Yes, I did.
she will realize it on her own that she was wrong in the way she treated you. But just don't let her doubt you.
Well, here's the point. Thank you
much.
for your input. Let me say this. Although that's the best case scenario, however, many of these people are not capable of doing what you just said. Many of these people will keep to that story. In fact, your apologizing confirms you were wrong. Just like I thought, you are wrong, you apologize, and your apologize is cheap. Words are cheap. So for them, it's a confirmation how wrong you are. I want to say again that each of these points, you see how many people are speaking up? This really hits a nerve because all of us have been perpetuators of this not taking responsibility and also had it directed at us. So I want to get whatever anybody else wants to ask or say, please feel free to speak up, keeping in mind that other people really benefit from what you have to say.
Good evening, Dr. Nerenberg. It's Ann.
Hello, Ann. Yes.
Hope you're doing well on this rainy evening.
Well, I like the rain. Thanks.
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you for this topic. I really feel like this is one that, relates right with being able to say, I wish you well to people is so powerful, impactful. I know we've had that conversation. And so this topic, and please send out the video because I do want to get those 6 points down again because this was very, very helpful. So I just wanted to say thank you for the topic because it really is very impactful.
Well, Ann, all of your contributions, your texts, when you speak up, in my mind, when you said it's Ann, in my mind it was Ann the Great. You had Catherine the Great, the leader of Russia at one time. I think Ann the Great, because your insight, your intelligence, your awareness, your commitment to the way of honor are profound. I have so much admiration and respect for the way you live.
Thank you, Dr. Nerenberg. Appreciate it.
And Ann, I like you especially because your Ann ends with an E. My mother's name was spelled the same way. So we started off on a good foot right there. Yeah. Yes, Hugh.
Do you think if someone has led a really dishonorable life and then they turn to the way of honor, that they appreciate the honor more?
So Hugh's saying if somebody led a really degraded life and they turn to the way of honor, they appreciate it more. Absolutely. Good point. Because the person knows that they lived in darkness. And what it turns out is that honor is a shield against our own negativity. Honor is a shield against our own darkness. Honor puts a light into the darkness for us. So we see the difference in the life that we have versus a life we had. So the normal response to that is gratitude. A lot of people don't make that kind of repentance, but those that do are very grateful that they saw the light, repented. Repentance to sin is common. To repent is rare. But that repentance will bring you into a great way of life. It'll bring out your own nobility. The repentance in itself is nobility. The repentance in itself is empowering. It's rare. I don't know too many people. I've repented for things I've done. And it was very freeing. Very freeing. You would think it's person might feel degraded by it. No, but actually you feel uplifted and freed, uplifted, and relieved and grateful that you found a better way. Absolutely. Good point to you, as always. Good point.
Dr. Nerenberg.
Yes.
I know we got to watch a lot of your videos and stuff, and it's amazing to me, all the topics and everything you have, but I do have to admit, you made me chuckle beyond belief.
Well,
I watched one of your videos where you were rapping.
Oh, yeah.
Nicely oiled up and karaoke rapping.
Oh, I made that poem. Was it, Do You Think You're a Dog? Was it that one?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I have a lot of those where I was kind of moving to it with some music, and I wrote these poems, and I would kind of recite them to the music. Yeah, thank you.
What lesson video was that?
Well, is it on honestherapy.com or is it somewhere else?
I would have to look. It was. I went deep, and it was. Man, it was just hysterical yet pointful, and man, you're a good character.
Well, thank you so much for that. I really appreciate that. You know, some people didn't like how I was moving in it, but I liked to move when I was reciting it, and we had that music in the background.
You had moves, brother.
You liked Well, my friend of mine, he had two reactions. He says, "What? I didn't know you had it in you." And the other thing he said, "Did you write that about me?" Because a lot of guys relate to that macho thing, and they really want to have love with a special person, but they just think all they want is sex. And so it used to be, do you think you're pot dog and pot hog? You know, I've had those. Yeah. Thanks.
That was it.
Yeah,
that was it.
That was one of my favorites that I recited. Thank you for
mine too. I'm going to play it back a lot.
Yeah, please do. Yeah. If anybody wants to send me a text, I'll send you a copy of it. Yeah. Thank you.
It's on YouTube. Just put your name in.
Oh, it's on YouTube. Put my name in. I don't know if it's on the honestherapy.com, but it's on YouTube. Put my name in. It's the name of the piece is, Do You Think You're a Dog? Yeah. Thanks for that. Thank you. Yeah, you got me chuckling myself just remembering it.
Yeah, I'd like to add something. Arnold, can you hear me?
I do.
Okay, so people are raised in different environments. Okay, so somebody that's an only child is going to have a whole different outlook than people that were in a big family. I was in a big family. So with that being said, some people are going to be altered permanently by the way that they began their journey in this life. So we can't really be too hard on people because everybody had their own origin of what they went through that made them what they are now. So we
That's totally true. Totally true.
We need to try to be empathetic to people because we really don't know what they went through, what happened, how this all came about.
Let me emphasize and illustrate your point. If you take a child, whenever he spilled a little milk or some crumbs fell on the table, his mother beat him, just beat him and beat him and beat him. Well, that person, to make a mistake, is deadly. So when they get older, they want to be very defensive because if they make a mistake, they have in them that's very, very dangerous. But it doesn't mean they can't overcome it. They can, but they're raised with the idea to make a mistake is dangerous. Now, my attitude, and I grew into this over the years, you make your plans, jump in, mess it up, clean it up. That's my philosophy of life. I make so many mistakes. Matter of fact, I have a video, The Power of Failure. And I talk about all the failures of my life, and they're so numerous in every area of life, relationship, money, legal issues, educational issues. I have failed. And I remember being at one class, I was going into that with the young people there. He said, "What are you doing? Like, you're talking about all these failures." But then when I talked about how I got stronger and more powerful from it, he was amazed when he saw the reaction of the students. So being able to admit you made a mistake, admitting, and one dimension of that is to acknowledge our failures, and realizing that those failures, if you're seeking to gain power from hardship, one of the commands of honor, I'm grateful for the power I gain from hardship, will elevate you. You look to gain the power from what went wrong. So once you apologize, and you're not defensive, I have to tell you, being defensive, trying to cover up your mistakes, that's a job. Because you're not only justifying it now to the person, you're walking around, it doesn't end there. You're walking around justifying it. You keep building up your story. You keep building it up. As a matter of fact, you start telling your story to other people. Can you imagine that person said this to me and that to me, whatever? And really, you were the one wrong, but you've got this story about how that person wrongs you. And you get all the people you know to hear your distortion and agreeing with you that you were right and they were wrong. So this, once you get defensive and cover up, it goes on. It doesn't end just in that moment. It goes on. You end up with a lot of these stories. But you're right. Some people went through a circumstance in life that makes it harder to do it. Doesn't mean they can't do it. But certainly having compassion for the person stuck in that, whatever it's due to, being stuck in it, they're hurting. They're suffering. And it's appropriate to feel compassion. But to achieve that, it's hard to feel compassion when you're feeling hurt and disturbed by them. So then I have one of the laws of honor. There's 25 laws. I hope to respond much more to your vulnerability than to your negativity. I hope to respond much more to your vulnerability than your negativity. You don't always know what the vulnerability is. Could be that kid was beaten up anytime he made a mistake. So they're terrified of making a mistake. Look, let me illustrate it. A 2-year-old comes up to you and goes, "I hate you, I hate you, I hate you." I say, "You brat. You poop in your diaper, I have to change that? I hate you." You're not going to do that. You see the vulnerability. You don't respond to the negativity. You say, "Come here, mijo. Come here, sweetie. I love you." Because you respond to the vulnerability. So that's a 2-year-old. But let me tell you, you can deal with somebody 22, 52, 82, and they become 2 years old at times. The body is that age chronologically, but emotionally, psychologically, they regress to 2 years old. So I hope to respond much more to your vulnerability than your negativity. Really helps you respond with love and compassion when people are exhibiting behaviors that are difficult to take. Of course, you have to do what you can to neutralize the damage, protect yourself, whatever. But at the same time, you want to respond compassionately, realizing that this is not a 60-year-old person. It's just 2 years old at this time. I had a very close friend. We had a great time. For 45 years, we were best friends. Then we ran into a little problem with each other. That I saw some dimension of that guy. I went, "Oh, my God." He became like 2 years old. He started cursing at me. Couldn't take responsibility. So as long as we were having a good time, he was great. But boy, we had that issue. He could not deal with it at all. He became 2 years old. And I used to hear about that from his wife. Of course, I didn't see it. But when I hit it with him, boom. That's when you get to know somebody. When you hit a tough spot, can you deal with it in a respectful way? And a lot of people can't see themselves. In so many ways, he's a great man. But you can't be in a relationship with him because he hit a spot of misunderstanding. And this guy wasn't going to come back and be just offensive and abusive in it. I took it, and finally I said, I just can't be around him. And he was wondering why. Well, I forgive you for the past, but I know that's coming in the future. And he could have still corrected it and come to me with humility, and we would have been friends again, but he just couldn't do it. And I know how much my friendship meant to him, but he just couldn't do it. It was pride before honor for him. I know that. And that was 45-year friendship. So I've seen this up close and personal in my life. Close and personal. And the things I'm telling you and how to deal with this is very, very healthy for you. Very healthy. Well, it's been my pleasure, my privilege, and my enjoyment to present who are the people who will not take responsibility for their problems.
The sea of destiny is in your deepest struggle. God's will and mine be one, and I wish you well. You are co-creator, respectfully real. There's a way in the valley that turns weakness to steel. We're known through all eternity. From strife we gain power, clothed in grace and love, disciples of honor. All the days of our lives refuse the way of shame. We wish nobody harm, have no one to blame. Your high calling will be done, and pure eyes now glow. In darkness crave the good, like waters from the desert flow. I pledge my love all the days of my life. I pledge my soul to all that is good. I pledge my heart to my brothers and sisters, who I join in the light, leave a legacy of honor. We're known through all eternity. From strife we gain power, clothed in grace and love, disciples of honor. All the days of our lives refuse the way of shame. We wish nobody harm, have no one to blame. Your high calling will be done, and pure eyes now glow. In darkness crave the good, like waters from the desert flow.